I can pretty much figure that you know where this is going. Right? This is probably not the Uncle Bob who was your favorite uncle and brought you little toys and took you to Disneyland. It's probably not that Uncle Bob. The thing about Uncle Bob is, let's draw a picture of Uncle Bob. He's probably a little dirty. He's probably not so nice. Maybe he picks fights with people on Thanksgiving Day. Maybe he's really loud about whatever he believes in, whether it's political or spiritual or whatever. It's just loud. It's my way or the highway. He's hard to like. So, we're going to talk about him in a bit. First, I'm going to tell you why I made you sing 12 Days of Christmas. So here it is. Now, you have just put away your Christmas things and dragged your tree out to the curb for its ignominious exit. But here are the things. This song, the 12 Days of Christmas, is not actually a Christmas song. Well, it's sort of a Christmas song. But it's really a game that was played in the mid-18th century at parties leading up to Twelfth Night. Twelfth Night is part of the Christmas season, which starts on December 26th and ends on January 6th. It's a memory and forfeits game in which the leader recited a verse, each of the players repeated the verse, the leader added another verse, and so on until one of the players made a mistake, with the player who erred having to pay a penalty, which was offering up a kiss or a sweet. The 12 Days of Christmas is what most people like it to be. A secular song that celebrates the Christmas season with imagery of gifts and dancing and music. Also sometimes called Little Christmas. Some misinterpretations have crept into the English version over the years. For example, the fourth day's gift. We say 4 calling birds. The word is collie, C-O-L-L-Y. It means black as coal, and it's speaking of blackbirds. So now you know. Everywhere you go next year, you can sing the right thing. And probably everyone will be really irritated. So, collie birds. The word collie, meaning black as coal, has been appended to other things. This is in Britain, right? But in this case, it would be blackbirds. The 5 golden rings refers not to 5 pieces of jewelry, but to 5 ring-necked birds, such as pheasants. And when these errors are corrected, the pattern of the first 7 gifts, all being types of birds, is reestablished. Churches refer to the 12th day of Christmas, January 6th, as Epiphany. I would like to know, this is just for my own pleasure, how many of you grew up in a church that did something about Epiphany? Oh, Catholic? Did you grow up Catholic? No. I'm scandalized. So most of you didn't. I didn't. I grew up in a really religious home. We were very Presbyterian, and I don't remember ever hearing anything about that. So this was all news to me. The word epiphany is from the Greek and means an appearance or manifestation, especially of a divine being. Epiphany is observed as a church festival in commemoration of the coming of the Magi as the first manifestation of Christ to the Gentiles, or in the Eastern Church, in commemoration of the baptism of Christ. The Magi saw an unusual star and followed it to Bethlehem. This recognizes them as astrologers, a very revered position at that time and in that area of the world. They apparently had knowledge of the importance of his life indicated by their gifts. Gold, recognizing him as a king. Frankincense, used for temple rites, recognizing him as a priest. And myrrh, an anointing oil for burial, recognizing his mortality. And when they saw the baby, they recognized him as a sacred being and the Son of God. The baby that was in the baptism that I did this morning just radiated God to me. It's harder when they're screaming, I'll admit that. But this one was not. She was just beautiful. And I thought, while I was doing the service, I was thinking, yeah, this is how the wise men knew. They could see that this baby was God. And what a joyful occasion is that? That's why we party on January 6th. I encourage you all to go party on January 6th. Here's some things you can do. Okay, we have star processionals on the Sunday closest to January 6th for church services, where the kids come down the aisle with stars that they have made, nice silver stars, and they troop down the aisle to their seats. Of course, representing the Star of the East. Parties or get-together to clean up homes after the festive season and put away Christmas decorations. I didn't put this in here, but also the story is that if you don't have your decorations put away by January 6th, bad luck will ensue. Like everybody's going, oh my God, we have to go home right now. There are treasure hunts to find a figure of the Christ child. There are Epiphany luncheons, parties, and celebrations among churchgoers. And they have Sunday school activities for children that focus on Epiphany, like creating the star. Epiphany is really fun, and we should all do it. When I was reading about it and going, wait a minute, we never did this, I was struck by the other things that go with Epiphany, but in other parts of the world. In the Eastern Church, people jump into freezing cold water. So we're really glad that we live here, because we don't do that. It's kind of like the polar bear swim. A priest blesses a cross and throws it as far as he can out there, and then the people just jump in the water and go try to find it. And it's in remembrance of Jesus' baptism, where God said, right there, out loud for everybody to hear, this is my son, in whom I am well pleased. Okay, so that's another time when God made himself known through Jesus. And then there's one more that I think should really be celebrated, and that's the miracle at Cana. Because he turned water into wine. And people recognized that as someone who had God in him. I think they should have put the wine back in some barrels and turned it back into water for later when they could use it, right? But I don't know. I do not know. Ram Dass, a Hindu teacher and a wonderful man, said, what is at the beginning of your program, if God is in anyone, then God is in everyone. You know, that's hard to digest. When I was a kid, I couldn't digest it at all. And I used to argue with my mother. You know, what? Murderers? They have God in them? Etc. But yeah, they do. They may not be able to access it. They may not want to access it. So you can't see it. But it's in there because it's in everyone. Okay, I'm just going to cop to this. When I was doing some research, I came across a quote that I was like, I love this quote. But then it turned out to be from the leader of some group that believes that, a being in outer space is talking to them. And so this was the being in outer space. And I was like, you know what? I still like the quote. I'm going to do it. Within the soul of each of you, there is a divine spark, which itself is the result of direct illumination from the Spirit, which dwells silently within all of you. Go into this divine spark. Meditate upon it. Let the mighty rays vibrate through you each day, every hour, every second, every microsecond. And then you will let in the light to your earth, to all those around you. I believe that. That's why I had to put it in, even though it was from outer space. An important step in the spiritual journey is the realization that God is not outside you, God is inside you. The step after that is the realization that God is inside me, God is inside everyone. When you realize that this is true, you realize that you should probably live your life a little differently. A great spiritual exercise is to take a moment to realize God is in you and God is in me whenever you meet someone. Each and every one of us is an idea in the mind of God. The light of God is within all of us. So why aren't we all beaming with joy? We all long for heaven where God is. This is Mother Teresa, I should tell you that. We all long for heaven where God is, but we have it in our power to be in heaven with Him right now, to be happy with Him at this very moment. But being happy with Him now means loving as He loves, helping as He helps, giving as He gives, serving as He serves, rescuing as He rescues, being with Him for all the 24 hours, touching Him in His distressing disguise. I love that. She used that a lot. She talked about the people that she helped and we're working with them as though God was in them. And even though they were the poorest of the poor. Would I could do that. So Bob, let's go back to Bob just for a minute. You're at Thanksgiving dinner. That makes it easy because sometimes we're like, oh no, he's here, and that's kind of bad. So let's think about Uncle Bob. He has annoyed you. He has perhaps offended you. He's always asking for something. I had somebody who stayed at my house that was always asking for something. My daughter was 12, and she even asked her, "Can you give me $20?" So he could be doing that. Think about it. What irritates you when people come by? And here's the thing. This thing of looking into each other's face and saying, I see the God in you, can be allowed. It's very powerful. And it can be silent, totally. If you don't know what's going to happen or you just don't want to, totally silent. To just stand there, it only takes a second. I see the God in you. I see the God in me. And I will hope that you will practice that you will see that epiphany goes on. That people could recognize God in Jesus. And we can recognize God in each other. And when something great comes from that, it is an epiphany. So I hope that you will do that. And use that little meditation there. You could do it as big as you want. You could do it for a 20-minute meditation every day. To say to yourself, I see God in everyone, and I see God in myself. And somehow, I think that makes us want to live up to having God in us. What does that mean? God is in you? Okay, so do you want to do horrible things to God? Probably not. So can you treat yourself the way you would hope to treat God, who is in you? And can you treat others? By seeing God in them, can you treat them well? I hope so. Happy Epiphany. And I hope you have fun while you make crosses and drink wine and take your Christmas decorations down. It's kind of good to have a party for that because other people come and they all help you and it only takes a few minutes. Great. Okay, we're going to do our offering.